Well, let's get this thing started again. Welcome in, everybody. I got my co-host, David Choate, in the house, sporting the Broncos hat. We won't judge him for that, but we will.
You shouldn't after that first preseason game of ours. It was spectacular.
Listen, okay, let's not get into the weeds here, David. Okay, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excited about today.
I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or them.
I was.
So,
okay.
Okay.
Everyone in the chat, we're excited you guys are here. David, that question was for you, okay?
All right.
The question was for you. Again, my name is Tim Cross. I'm a lead product manager here at ShareFaith and in Ministry Brands. And I have, again, David Choate with me. He is also a lead product manager. Basically, those are fancy terms for I'm the media guy. David's the kids guy. Very excited. Today's webinar, David, do you want to tell them kind of what the overview is for today's webinar?
Yeah, well, hopefully you're here for back to school, and it's something we're both.
If you're not, you're in the wrong webinar.
Yeah, you tuned into the wrong place. But yeah, we're going to be talking back to school, and specifically, we want to do a live demo that showcases a lot of what ShareFaith can do to help you just get the most out of your back to school event for your church. And as we go through that, there are some big ideas that we're going to want to key off of. One is helping you look at how to be consistent through your branding and your messaging of back to school, and making sure that the communications you get out there really stay consistent and move people from point A to point B. And a part of that, another big idea that we'll talk about, is making sure that you have convenient next steps for visitors or members to take, so you get the word out. How do you make sure that they take the next step and really get integrated into your plans for back to school? And then finally, closing that loop and making sure that anyone who does make or take a next step, that you have plans in place with how to follow up with them and communicate, hey, thanks for signing up. Thanks for saving your spot, whatever the next step is. And here's what you can expect in the days and weeks to come.
Yeah. And I think, so when we first started talking about this webinar, me and David, we sat down and we wanted to go a little further in today's webinar to not just say, hey, look at these cool things that ShareFaith can do, but really show you how to do them with our products. And I think that's something that's going to be unique about today, especially if you're new to ShareFaith. You're going to see some of the new features that we've launched within the last few months, but also like see the back end and how we use the product to help, because we all serve in ministry. David volunteers at church. I volunteer at a church. Everyone at Ministry Brands is very passionate about, being involved in this great thing called the church and helping support it. And I think that's what I'm most excited about, is really showing you how to do it, like with our stuff. And it's really easy, which is one of the things that we're most excited about. So before we get too far along though, something that we want to let you all know is at the end of today's webinar, at the very, very end, we are doing a $50 Amazon gift card. And this is how you enter. You just stay here. That's it. You stay all the way through the webinar. At the very end of the webinar, we're going to pick somebody that is still here, random in the chat, and you'll get a $50 Amazon gift card. And hey, who doesn't want an Amazon? I mean, can I enter?
No matter how boring you and I may be, Tim, they still have an incentive to stick around at the end.
The reason we added the incentive is because we know.
We know us. We know what we are, what we bring to the table.
I have a face for radio and a voice for print. Okay. I'm very clear about what I know myself. All right.
I like that line. I'm going to steal that at some point.
Face for radio, voice for print. Okay. So yeah, gift card, $50 Amazon gift card. Just be here. One of you will win it. You just need to be here at the end of the webinar and we'll pick somebody in there. So David, do you kind of want to jump in and get this thing started?
Yeah, for sure. Let's, Tim, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and pull up ShareFaith Media, because where we're going to start with back to school is getting the word out and promoting a back to school event at your church. I think one of the things that churches really need to leverage as they head into the back to school season is making sure that on as many channels and as many platforms as they have, that they are clearly communicating, we have back to school coming. And sometimes when you're marketing an event or getting the word out, it can be just simple eye-catching graphics that can be such a powerful part of that. And so I think it'd be great, Tim, if you just jumped into ShareFaith Media and did a quick search for back to school and show people some of the content that we have, and then we can jump in and show them how they can use it.
Absolutely. So if you have been with if you've been a member with us for a long time, you will know that we recently updated the search on our platform. Before this update, I would say our search was from a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best. Conservatively, probably a 0.5. Like, it was terrible. Okay. Like, listen, the titles, the categories, all of that stuff was named differently. We ShareFaith Media grew so fast over the last couple of years that we had to change so many things, and it got a little crazy. So we just launched this in, I think, July. And I think July, in like mid-July is when we launched it. And it is absolutely incredible. Search took the forefront, and hopefully you are finding this easier to use than ever before. But let's just pull up an example. I'm going to show you right now. So I'm just going to look for school. In this case, at the very top, if you can see it, I can make it a little bigger. So school. And I'm just doing all categories. So like, this is taking in account videos, graphics, print. I mean, everything, anything that is school related, it's coming in. Like even this one, we have a mini movie back to school, but that's not really what I'm looking for. In this case, we're talking about promotion. So the first thing in my mind when it comes to promotion is you want to think social media graphics. So I'm just going to select the category social media graphics. And here we go. We instantly see all of the school related, some like Vacation Bible School, some of that stuff comes up, and that's totally fine. Our search engine tries to grab as much and allows you to whittle it down so you can really fine tune what you're looking for. But in this case, we're going to be finding this graphic right here. And what's super cool about our UI is once you kind of jump in to a graphic that you like, you can see the download options here. If you scroll down a little further, it actually shows you more from this pack. So in this case, this is kind of a standard pack for ShareFaith, where it gives you kind of everything that you need, from countdown videos. You can tell it's a video by this icon here, to like the PowerPoint presentations and like the main title graphics and stuff like that, and even some print stuff. So yeah.
And one thing I want to just jump in on as you scroll down there, Tim, I think it's really important. One of the most effective things you can ever do in the realm of communication is stay consistent, right? You might hear it in other circles as saying staying on brand, but making sure that every time you talk about this event or back to school, it always feels the same to people. It builds a sense of trust and excitement and expectation. And so whether it's a countdown timer for the start of your service, or a banner on an email graphic, or a social media post, or it could even be like a bulletin cover, that goes a long way. And so one of the powerful things about ShareFaith is it's all there ready for you to use in a bunch of different formats.
Yeah, and something that's cool that we're slowly moving towards as well, we're adding new producers to our library. So we have 2 new producers. We're working on a few more that will just add to the diversity of our content. And that's all baked into your membership fee. So it's nothing more you have to pay for. It's not like, premium or whatever. Like, it's just right there. It's baked into your fee. But to David's point, I heard a creative pastor at a pretty large church once say that it takes about 3 touches, 3 like points of contact to get somebody in the door, type of thing. So like, he was referencing, how do you get people into your church? So he's like, billboards. Even in 2021, billboards are still a great option because people are constantly driving by. I read this thing that said the most effective thing you can have on a billboard literally says exit now. I'm like, okay, whatever. But in this context of what David's talking about, that's what's great about ShareFaith is our packs are designed that way. So you can have a title graphic that's in 16:9 ratio for your weekend service slides. You can have a website banner. You can have something that you can print out. And then what that's going to do is create this consistency through all of your posts from social media to your website, that people will just be able to recognize and start to remember, like, oh, this graphic is the back to school. Back to school is this announcement that they made. It's this thing that we're doing. So yeah.
And I think something worth highlighting with ShareFaith Media, depending on your church and how much time you have, you might find exactly what you're looking for on this graphic and go, no, that says it perfectly. But ShareFaith Media is incredibly powerful in that it includes an online graphic designer. And as a designer myself, the ability to pick a graphic that you like and go in and just customize it, and the fonts are already loaded and the layers are there, is just an incredible thing. So maybe you can showcase a few things there, Tim.
Yeah. So on the graphics that now, not every single graphic has the customized design. Like much older designs, I think it's pre 2018 designs, don't have this function. And if you find one, basically the button won't be there. But we do offer the Photoshop in every one that we do. But with that being said, since 2018, this feature is there, and you can click customize design. It'll open up designer, and this is what designer looks like. If you have a yearly membership with ShareFaith, you can actually do advanced mode. And so this is actually an area that we're going to be focusing on over the next year, improving this feature, this tool, making it easier for you as a user to use. But the power of this thing is basically the equivalent of a Photoshop. You really do have the ability to do as much as you want, and a lot of the same features that are in Photoshop. So if you can go advanced, which is what this guy is, or you can go simple, which is what's included with monthly. But if you want the advanced, you have to go yearly with that. But with that being said, you basically just say like, hey, back to school, start the year off right, and then just say like, hey, we want to change this text down here, and we want this to say, you know, what's the name of our church, David?
Let's go join us at Hillside.
Join us at Hillside Church. Boom. That easy. Change that text out. It saves the font, so you don't have to worry about any of the font. You can even move layers around if you want to move layers around. Commands on the keyboard work, like I just hit Control-Z. Like just some very cool things here. And again, it's all kind of available to you. Like if you want to change some of these images out, like each design is going to have a little bit more unique, like have a uniqueness to it about what you can edit. So again, there are some limitations, but the biggest thing will be the text will always be editable. And you just kind of use it from there. It's really cool.
Yeah. And if you, I mean, for any of you that have like looked at, Adobe Creative Suite or other online design software, you know that there can be a high price tag that accompanies those things, or there can just be, some buggy things on some of the free options out there. So that the fact that this is included with ShareFaith Media, I've always seen as an incredible asset to people that go for those yearly memberships. Now, the big idea again, go for it, Tim.
Real quick. I just saw a great question from Darius that I want to kind of touch on. He says that he's new to ShareFaith and got everything. So welcome. You're a sweet member. So everything we're going to show you today is going to be applicable to you, which is awesome. Some files, he's asking, why are some files Word instead of Publisher? We are in, again, ShareFaith has been around for a while. I think it's over 10 years, easily over 10 years. And during that time, and I think if you think media 10 years ago, what did that look like? Most churches were using Word for everything. It's crazy as that sounds. Like Photoshop back then, you'd have to pay $1,000 for one single use of Photoshop. Since that time, now there's Creative Cloud. You can pay a monthly membership for Photoshop. We have tools like this. We're the online editor. One thing that we are doing is we are evaluating the offering of the file types that we do. And that's essentially saying like, right now we have a bifold bulletin cover. Currently, we offer it in a few formats, but one of them is not. We don't currently offer it in Photoshop. The reason is back when we offered these bifold originally, there's no need for it. Photoshop really wasn't a thing. And now it very much so is. So we are actually in this process right now of evaluating, okay, what file types do we need to offer? What are going to be the most applicable to our users? Because we can't offer everything, even to the point where we have a video file. And back in the day, software if you were on a PC, you couldn't play an H.264 file really. Like it would have issues. So you'd have to use a WMV. And if I'm speaking Spanish to you, it's just I'm video codecs. But in today's world, freaking every software plays H.264. So we save time on our end by just offering you an HD file as H.264. And if you need it in SD, a standard definition, your software now automatically converts that over. So we don't have to spend our time converting a H.264 to a WMV so you can play it on your Windows machine. Windows plays it just fine. So,
all right, now that you're finished speaking a completely foreign language that none of us understand, could
listen,
you...
all of you people out there, you get it, okay? You know what I'm talking about.
So just real quick, there was a question. Explain the difference real quick, the difference between the monthly and the annual membership. Who can design, and what is the kind of the ability?
So the simple nature, there's two main things with your memberships. If you're monthly with us, you have a limit on your download a month. So you get 30 media items download every month. Even with the price.
Can they use Designer on the monthly?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So monthly has access to this version of the Designer that I'm showing right now. So there's just basically these tools that you have: text, move items around, simple. But if you go yearly with us, you get unlimited downloads, and you get this advanced mode, this toggle, and basically this opens up the door for photo, like the equivalent of what Photoshop is. It opens up the door. So with your yearly, and that's not just media yearly, it's all yearly memberships, you have access to this tool. And there's like things like spot healing. Like if you're in Photoshop at all, you'll know exactly all these tools, brushes. Like you can do a lot with this. Add gradients, add layers. You can do it's the equivalent of Photoshop with your membership. And like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a big focus for us on improving this experience, making it easier and better. I want to get it to a point where if you have a membership with us, you will be able to use this tool, the ShareFaith Designer tool, and open Photoshop files that you download on your computer. So if you have someone sends you a Photoshop file and you need to edit that, but you don't have Photoshop, you can use this tool, open up that file on your computer, save it, and you're good to go. Like, we're going to take it beyond just customizing our designs to allowing you access to edit any Photoshop file and maybe even open up like a brand new design you want to start from scratch or whatever. So it's very powerful. All runs in the browser. It's crazy.
Love it. Okay. So big picture, what we're talking about here is promoting the event. And so when you look at one of these graphic packs, we'd recommend making sure that you have a weekend announcement slide so that it's in front of the congregation. We definitely recommend putting out content on social media, putting banners on any emails that you send out. And now we want to talk about what it looks like to effectively promote an event like back to school on your website. And I think there are a lot of creative options that a church can do to really get the most out of this. So we're going to jump now into a ShareFaith website on our Hillside theme. And it's the work that we're going to be doing is in Elementor. And maybe, Tim, as we get into this, if you wouldn't mind just calling out some of the things that you see as like a website designer that really make Elementor a great solution for a church when they're building a website.
Yeah, so we launched Elementor, was it like a year or a year and a half ago or something like that, and we're basically using one of the best tools available, which is Elementor, this builder, and we've integrated it with ShareFaith and made this focus of church design at the forefront. So example here is we have this theme called Hillside Church. If you guys go to sharefaith.church, you can actually see, you can follow along with me if you want. But one of the cool things with this is like, we wanted, like you and I are like, hey, let's show the back to school event on our homepage. How do we do that? Well, there's a couple ways you can do it with the Elementor. So I'm going to click edit with the Elementor. Now I'm logged in on the back end, which is why I see these options. You're not going to see them if you just go to sharefaith.church, but I'm an admin, so I can see them. So I'm going to click edit with Elementor. It's going to load up the visual editor. And then one of the most powerful things about ShareFaith by far is we've integrated with this tool. So you have this visual editor, you can easily change text out. But in this case, like you and I were like, hey, let's add a back to school kind of a call out. And we wanted to kind of find something. We could either design it from scratch, or we have this ShareFaith button right here, which gets us into the ShareFaith templates and sections. Now, if I remember correctly, this is under the Hope theme. So we're going to go to sections here at the top. We're going to go to Hope. And then we're going to scroll down to the section that we selected, which I believe was a featured event right here. So we saw this and we're like, hey, let's import this in and let's use this to kind of call it out on our home page. So if you click import, it'll import this to your page. What's cool about Elementor is it'll take your styling for your website and apply that to any of our templates. So it actually will override. So like if you have the Hope theme, it'll make any section you add look like your Hope theme. In this
and
case,
that really, yeah. And as you think about that, what makes it so cool is when you're building a website and you go and look at some of the different sections on a given theme, there's a lot of great stuff in there. So there could be like a live streaming section. There could be a note from the pastor section. But if you're looking through a given theme and you're like, oh, I love this theme, I just wish it had something like this. With all the different themes and all the different sections, it really expands what you can do on a website like 100-fold. It really is an incredible tool that's been built here with ShareFaith. So let's go back to our main page there and online at sharefaith.church.
Yep. Let me log out, or like, let me get rid of the visual. Unless you want me to, do you want me to stay in the visual editor?
No, I think we could go to the live page here.
Okay.
And then.
So I'm just going to click this hamburger menu, go to view page. I'm not going to save any of that stuff because we've already gone through that, but we'll show you kind of how easy it is again here in a second. But like, that's basically what we did. We grabbed this featured section from a different theme, added our background, added our text, and this is what you get.
And so I would say for a lot of churches, when they're promoting an event, this is maybe where it stops a lot of times, right? We go to the homepage and there's a banner on the page, and it's like, hey, don't miss this event that's happening. And while I think that's a good start, and it's definitely a great thing to have that communication front and center on your homepage, a tool that you'll see not just for churches, but across any industry with their website is that they will devote a specific page to a specific event. And it really allows you to tailor your messaging and kind of understand that your audience may be looking for a little bit more than just an announcement and deliver on it. And so what we did in Elementor is we went ahead and built a back to school event page.
Yeah, and something to kind of point out too is like, I mean, we know it, right? Like, you're in the church, you absolutely know what I'm about to say is true. Events are a great opportunity to reach people. It's just the truth of it. Back to school is one of the biggest times for churches after the summer slump. I'm sure we all know what that looks like. But people are getting back into their habits. Their summer is kind of dwindling down. Kids are getting back to school. Routines starting to happen again. And doing a back to school event really does pay off. And so to David's point, it's like, you want this page to basically be a page showcasing not just the event, but giving those next steps. And we'll get into that. But I'm excited. It's an event page is really powerful for events. So
and so let's just talk through some of like the thought process behind a page like this that may not jump out to us. I think we've all had that experience. Maybe that we're on a Facebook post or something, and we see a graphic on that Facebook post and we click on it, and then we land on a page and we feel a little lost. It's like, am I in the right spot? Because the page we land on doesn't feel like it came from the graphic that we just clicked, or it doesn't look like the graphic that we saw, on the weekend announcement slide. And so that's why on a page like this, we would recommend front and center, the same graphic that you used on your social media post, the same graphic that was on your weekend announcement slide, the same graphic that was on the countdown timer. Put that front and center on this page. And what that does for any visitor is it just communicates that you have thought this through, that you have a plan, that they're at the right place. And it breeds a sense of confidence and trust that anything they're going to find on this page is relevant to them. And it encourages them to take the next steps that we're going to be talking about on this page.
Yep. So I'm just going to scroll down the next kind of section. So you have that title graphic. that consistency in that marketing that we're talking about, and we're just hyping it up. So like series are a great opportunity on the weekend, themed series. Now, not every church does themed series, and that's totally okay. I know some churches just go chronologically through the Bible, and some churches do it. I mean, do it. There's a word I'm looking for. There's a certain, my mind is blanking terribly on me, but there's a like an order in which your church follows like series and messages and stuff like that. But all that being said, we have graphics with great themes on them. So this is one of our more recent ones called Level Up. What's your next step? Think about a church coming back to school. You're going to get people coming back. You want a theme to kind of attach to, so that your members are like, hey, that looks like a very fun series. Would very much like to go there to hear about what this thing is. So it's kind of like you hit them with the title graphic. You have this countdown timer, which in Elementor is really easy. We'll show you how to do that real fast here in a second. But you have your countdown showing when this event is going to be. You have this title graphic. Join us for this must-attend family event. And then, David, you want to talk about this a little bit?
Well, yeah. Let's go up to that countdown timer real quick. Although it's a simple thing, and Tim will show you how easy it is to drop something like that in Elementor. A lot of churches, we might just go like, hey, let's put the graphic of the series up, and that's great, and that is great, and if it's eye-catching, it definitely can get people's attention. But a countdown timer, the reason you see them is that they create a sense of urgency, right? They create a sense of excitement, like, oh, this is coming and it's counting down. And so if you tell me to save my spot or to sign up or to register, I have some incentive to do that, because you've communicated right there in front of them, like, this is what's at stake. It's a limited time thing. And so little things like that on a page like this can go a long way to kind of moving someone from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so then below this, right, we have the series graphic. We give them a bit of an overview of what's going on. And this is where we get into the next step. In marketing language, you might have heard the term CTA, or call to action. And one of the basic principles is that anytime you're communicating to someone and that you've spent time and energy in trying to get their attention, is that you want to make sure that you have an action for them to take. Like, what is the next step? Okay, I'm excited. What am I supposed to do with my excitement? And so in this, we've put in here a call to action that's save your spot. And then we created this pop-up form in Elementor, very easy to create, where someone can see, right? Like, they know the pop-up pertains to them. They see the same graphic that was on the page. It's telling them reserve your spot. And then they can enter their name, first and last, and their email, and then hit submit. And if you're following along live with us and you go ahead and hit submit there, you'll get an email from us responding and saying, hey, your spot's been saved for this event. And for someone who fills out a form, that always makes it feel like legitimate, right? Like, okay, I filled it out and immediately I get an email back from you giving me some information.
Yeah, it's great practice, and it gives you information for you, because think of it like this, right? Most likely the people filling this out are going to be a visitor or someone that's newer to the church. So it gives you an opportunity to collect this information, know who's new, and then look for them, follow up with them. You can set up like responses in this email once they fill it out. Like, it is a great opportunity. And that's something they always got to keep in mind, is like giving those next steps to people, because to David's point, you got them really excited. They're all the way here, and then they don't do anything. You've missed.
Yeah, you don't want someone to come to a page and be like, oh, that looks exciting, and then they forget for a month or 2 weeks or whatever.
It's like you go in. So I'm from St. Louis. I wasn't born there, but I lived 10 years there. St. Louis barbecue. Been to St. Louis, great barbecue. It'd be like going into a barbecue place, showing all of this great barbecue food. Someone wants to pay me money, and I don't have a way for them to they have like, no, sorry, I really don't take card or cash or anything. Sorry, this is just for looks. They're gonna leave disappointed. I mean, I would. I think it's a great analogy. David, don't judge me.
Don't leave your people disappointed. Listen, that's Tim's point.
That's my point. Chad, please, if you're here and you think that was a great analogy, let me know in the comments below. I've been told I have great analogies, so I don't know if that's true or not. Okay,
so when we think about a page like this, right, we go high level. We want to have something that's open to visitors and also members, but something that's wide open. But for your regular attenders, for the members of your church, back to school is a big time as well. And it's a big time for things that are more than just a weekend service, right? You're wanting to see families maybe that have been gone for the summer or whose schedules have been crazy with sports or vacations. You want to see them get integrated back into the rhythms and routines of your church. And so it's great on a page like this to remind your congregation of some core opportunities, some key next steps that you would like them to take as well. And so those can include things like kids ministry, small groups, your live streaming options, and ways that they can volunteer. A key one in there would be like kids ministry. And so if we want to just click on that kids ministry link there, Tim, and we can pull open that page. So like with kids ministry, I think it's a great idea to go through and just let parents know, like, hey, this is what's coming up in our kids ministry. This is the series that we're going to be teaching on. As you scroll down that page, Tim, so we've got a link to a video that they can watch about the upcoming series. We've got a link to a family devotional that they can try out as well. And then below, I think it's always great to say, hey, here's some of the exciting things that your kids are going to see when they come to service this weekend. And so we've just called out some of the things with ShareFaith Kids that kids can expect, from worship videos to activity pages, Bible comics, PowerPoint games, all sorts of great stuff there.
And this is definitely something that, if you're new, I mean, one of the biggest things for any church is the kids ministry. As a parent myself of a new little, I mean, he's not new, I mean, he's newer, he's 2 years old, but that's one of the biggest things on my mind is the kids ministry safe? Is it secure? And is it going to be teaching the word of God to my kid in a way that he can understand and he enjoys himself? And showcasing that on your website is always a great thing to do. And hey, listen, here's a plug for ShareFaith Kids. If you guys need some good quality kids content, we got you.
Click on any of those links. You'll find some great stuff.
You'll find
some great stuff. All right, so let's go back to our event landing page. The final thing we'll call out, and again, after we talk through these big ideas, we're going to go into Elementor and show you some advanced tips and tricks and how we went about this. Online giving, I think all of us at this point know that it is an essential opportunity that churches need to have in place to encourage generosity with their members. But I think one of the things that we don't always think of with online giving is that it's more than about like reoccurring giving and monthly tithing. That like ShareFaith Giving, for example, it allows you to create designated funds that your congregation can give toward. And so with back to school, a great opportunity or a way that you could leverage ShareFaith Giving would be to set up a school supply fundraiser. So something that pertains specifically to this event. And if you're doing some sort of back to school drive at your church, you can assign a goal to that campaign and go, we're trying to raise X number of funds. And then through ShareFaith Giving, people can give directly to that fund, and you can track in real time how close you're getting to that goal that you've set out.
Yeah, and it's great. It's something to always keep on the forefront. Your church wants to support the mission and the vision of the church. That's why they're there. They believe in the church. They want to be there, and giving them these things visually will just remind them, is like, hey, these are school supplies. This is going towards, supplies for the kids. We're trying to raise $5,000. This is what it's going to do. It's going to help over 250 families. I know there's a church I used to work at that every year this particular person would donate, I think it was 100 Thanksgiving meals, and they felt it was their personal ministry to do that, because one Thanksgiving they went without, and so they since then, we're doing, I think they were like an owner of a business, so they're doing pretty good, and they just felt this calling is like, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that people have a meal for Thanksgiving. So in some way, this could be something very similar. You don't know the people in your church, like Like, don't take an opportunity from them, so make it on the forefront because they want to make a difference. So very cool.
Now, I don't know if our moderators have dropped the link to this page itself, the back to school page. You can find it if you're at sharefaith.church. You can find it on the events tab at the top. But one other thing that I would call out on a page like this, these work really well. Like we said before, when you keep them on brand, right? When you keep the messaging consistent. And so that goes beyond just a title graphic at the top that looks the same and feels the same as other content. It means that when they're on this page, everything as much as possible is reinforcing this theme or this idea of back to school. And so I will call out, as you go through this page and maybe spend some time on it yourself, you can see some creative ways to frame the discussion of kids ministry around back to school, frame the discussion of small groups around back to school, and just whether it's your graphics, whether it's your next steps, whether it's just your titles or the language you're using, as much as you can, keep it focused on what this event is about. And it's those little touches that can really go a long way in making a page like this work.
Yeah, and speaking of little touches, I think one thing when we designed this page we thought would be a really good opportunity is like getting a message from the pastor on this event. So like when we designed this page, me and David were like, hey, this was really good. One thing would be great, like an added touch to it would be, maybe a message from the senior pastor. And we found some cool sections that but we're like, let's do it live. Let's show you how easy it is with Elementor. And again, that power of the ShareFaith integration that we've done and that you get with your membership with ShareFaith websites and suite and all that stuff that has access to websites. So we're going to just go into that visual editor again, takes us into Elementor. I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom here where you see this little ShareFaith icon. It's always going to be at the bottom where you can drag and drop, like add in new things. In this case, click the ShareFaith icon. Now, again, we can add a whole new page if we wanted to. So you can kind of jump in here. If you wanted to import this whole page, you could. A footer, you can do anything. But in this case, I don't want to do a whole new page. I just want to do a section. And what's cool about how we have our designs set up is in each theme, there's sections that make a page, and then those sections you can add individually, which is pretty cool. So for us, we found a really good kind of working one that we think would work great, kind of a section from a pastor. And so it's under the Grace section, and it's just right here. So it's just Grace team member section. We're going to import this in. It'll take a second. It'll import that into your page, and then you can just instantly right there start editing and making it your own and making it like work for you. So like if we wanted to edit the picture of the pastor, you just click here, choose your image, insert whatever image you want. So, it looks like this guy looks pretty pastory. Yeah, sure.
Pretty pastory. Sure.
That's what's our pastor's name?
I'll just call him Pastor Jeff. We'll keep it on.
He looks like a Jeff. He looks like a sure. Jeff. Title, lead pastor. But in this case, like if you wanted to kind of make things a little simpler, we could just delete this item. We don't want these here, so you can just delete this. And this is the power of the sections where it's like you can just say like notes from our pastor, and then you add the note right here. And it's kind of cool in that our section, we customized it, automatically takes your styles for your theme that you selected, applies it to the section that you imported, and you're good to go. Like you don't have to design these new parts. You can just find what works for you, import it in, tweak it, and you're good to go.
Now on this page specifically, where we would see a church leveraging like a note from the pastor is, I don't know that our messaging, any church wants the core of their messaging to be about, the uncertainty of events right now, or that things are in this state of change, but they are a reality that maybe families are wondering like, well, what's going to happen if, a certain, mandate changes, or if there's new guidelines or whatever else. And so it's like, you can focus on all of your back to school plans, but then you can add a section like this at the bottom of your back to school page. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing. These are our plans and strategies should things change. things like live streaming and other options are ways that we are planning to stay flexible should, our current plans have to change in the future. And so it really then can become a comprehensive top to bottom presentation of what you're going to be doing for back to school.
Yeah, and I do want to throw a quick comment out to James. I see you there. I don't know what your website is built on currently, James. You said you've been a member with us for a few years, so you might be on the old tool. This new Elementor tool is absolutely phenomenal, and everything that we're showing you, it has to go with the new one. Basically, if you want, you can jump on like a support call with us, and we'll talk maybe more in depth with you. But everything here is the new stuff, the Elementor stuff, but it's included with your membership. You gotta make some switches and do a little bit of work on that side of things, but it makes it significantly easier. So I do want to touch base with that.
So while we got some time here, I do think it would be really good to jump into that pop-up form section.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
something as we did it together where I was blown away by what it can do and kind of the level of follow-up that it can give a church.
Yeah, so I'll break it down and just simplify as much as I can. So on any Elementor page, you can just simply add a form, right? So at the very top of your Elementor, we have this ShareFaith section. You can add a form, a prayer cloud, or a sermon cloud. So these are other tools that we have accessible. In this case, there's this form in here called Reserve Your Spot. But say like I wanted the form on the page itself. Well, you can do that. You can absolutely do that. We're going to go back here, click the form. Let's see, where do I want the form? Say we want to add a intersection in the Elementor, which just basically gives you columns inside of a design set. Say we want the text over here. Say we want this text over here. And then you can literally drag and drop the form over here and say, hey, I want to select the reserve the spot form, and it'll pop it over here. Now you can do that. But when me and David were designing this page, I was like, you know what, that looks good. We can make that look better. Or we could put it all into a pop-up. So I'm just going to Control Z all this, and it'll undo everything. I'm going to show you how to make this a pop-up. So in Elementor, included with your ShareFaith membership, if you go into the dashboard, so there's two things here. I want to kind of point them out. So one, we have the visual editor, which is the Elementor tool, which is what you see here. And then you have the back end basically of WordPress. And that is what this looks like. If you want to get here from your Elementor tool, you just got to exit to the dashboard. And then once you're here, you're going to click this to go to the main admin here. But you can also just go to share, like your website domain /WP admin login. It'll drop you here too. But this is kind of the back end. This gets a little bit, this is more advanced. This is more advanced stuff, but
you'll get a pop-up on your page. Come on, it's cool.
It's still fairly simple. I know there's a lot here and it can feel overwhelming. Don't feel too overwhelmed. Just don't click delete on anything, and I think it'll be okay. Just kind of look around. So anyways, in this context, we're going to create a pop-up under templates. So you have Elementor and then templates for Elementor. You have this thing called pop-ups. So you can click this right here. And this is kind of how we built the pop-ups. So I'm going to build a new one. I'm going to call this one. Pop-up is the one that I'm building. I'm going to call this Reserve Spots Live because we're making it live. Create template. And what this will do is it'll throw you into again, that visual tool of Elementor. In this case, there's like default templates that you can insert, which are kind of cool. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to hit escape and create something from scratch. So you're now creating your pop-up. So you can add images, you can add text, you can do all sorts of things in this pop-up. In this sense, though, I just want to add that form. So I'm going to just drag the form over, drop it in here. I'm going to select the form here on the left, and it will now pop up. So here's this pop-up we've created. Now I'm going to show you how to get it onto that page. But that's basically, it's that easy. And again, you can get as complicated as in-depth as you want to. I don't recommend that with pop-ups, but if you're feeling a little extra spicy, you can definitely do that. But we're going to keep this here. We're going to save it. We're going to click publish. In this sense, I'm not doing any conditions. So because we're creating a pop-up, there are some advanced uses that you can use where it's like, hey, I want to show this pop-up available on, home pages or anything. So like, for example, if you had a new series happening, you could create a pop-up that if a user gets to your website and is there for, a certain amount of time, this pop-up will happen and it'll give them the next step. They can either cancel out of the pop-up or they can, sign up for whatever you're trying to get them to do. But there's a lot with pop-ups. We could do like a whole webinar on this alone. But in this case, we're just going to have it be on that button. We want when someone clicks that button, it pops up. So I'm just going to click next. I'm not going to turn anything on. I'm going to save and close. And this is now saved, which is great. So now that this is done, I'm going to go back to our back to school page. And I'm going to click edit with Elementor. And I'm going to delete the button. I'm going to show you from scratch how we do that. So here we have the reserve your spot. So I'm just going to click delete this. So that is gone. Up here, I'm going to search for a button. Mind-boggling how crazy that is. Let's drop the button over. Give it a second. Any day now. I think Zoom is messing with my stuff. Button. There we go. So we got this button now. With your theme, these all pull in the styling to match. So Hillside is like the main colors are purple. You can change this and it'll change it universally throughout. But let's edit this button here. I'm going to click this edit button. I'm going to say I want this to be centered. I want the size to be extra large. I want the text to say, what does our text say? Reserve.
Yeah, reserve your spot.
Reserve your spot. And so the link is where you're going to connect it to the pop-up. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to make it as big as I can. Hopefully you see it's pretty good. So if you come over here, click link options, dynamic links is what you want. Dynamic tags, click this. And then we're going to scroll down and we're going to say, I want to connect this dynamically. So if we change the title of this pop-up, it will still be connected. I want to connect it to this pop-up. And then you select pop-up, you select it again, and then you have this action. So we're going to search for that reserve your spot live. It is now connected. And we're going to click update. And now it'll all look the same, but because it's the same exact form. If we go to viewing this page, I clicked the wrong one. We view this page now, or if you guys are following along with me on this website page and you just refresh it, you can see what we did. So now on the page, we have all of the stuff the same. Reserve your spot. This is that new button we clicked or created, and here you go. Done. Reserve your spot. All still there.
Yeah, and what's great in there, and we're kind of coming to the end of our time here, so we can't show everything, but on the back end of that form itself, you can adjust any of those fields. So if you want to collect a phone number in addition to a name and an email, that's totally possible. And then through some other advanced features, you can set up on the back end that you want an email response to everyone who fills out that form. So it'll just gather the email that was submitted and it can send an automatic email to them that was generated in Elementor. And so it's a great way to stay in touch with your members and to just kind of respond back to them immediately. It's easy. I mean, Elementor's ability to do it is very convenient. I would say that if this idea of having someone submitting a form and getting a response immediately back from you, or maybe a series of responses, is something your church really wants to key off of, while you can do it in Elementor, that's really what church management software was made for, managing those responses and really customizing and tailoring those for unique audiences. And so if you're looking for a church management software or want to know more about that, I would really encourage you to check out ShareFaith Connect. It can handle that, but it goes way beyond just email responses and workflows. So just something that I would call out for you there.
Yeah, the biggest thing I would say with that is ShareFaith Connect. I wanted to kind of show you where you could get more information on that if you guys wanted to. Just go to sharefaith.com, view it here, fill out this form, and get a little bit more details. But think of it like this: using technology for your advantage. You're busy. You got a lot going on. Imagine a world where you have an event happening this Sunday. Someone signed up to reserve their spot. They entered a workflow that you created, a workflow just saying, all right, when they fill out, send this email. A day before the event, send this email, reminding them, maybe showing them a picture of where they need to go when they get here. Like, hey, look for this building, look for this spot that we have saved for you. Like, that's a pretty cool thing that churches like to do, is kind of plan your visit. So like if you had a new guest, you show them like, hey, this spot is yours. We can't wait to meet you, in a smiling face of a volunteer. And you send that to them in an email that happens the day before. And it's just like, you didn't do anything. You just created one time, and it's working for all of these things. So that's where a CHMS, a church management software, really comes in, and the power of it. It didn't really occur to me until I got to where I'm at now with the company, like working here at Ministry Brands. It really clicked, like, holy cow, this is powerful, and more churches need to use this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the worst thing, having been a pastor for 10 years in ministry, the worst thing is just to hear about any member or visitor falling through the cracks. And you never want to see it happen, but it's just easy to do when there's so much going on. And so things like a church management software can really help you with that, to just keep track of interactions that you have and make sure that your follow-ups are on time. I think, Tim, we're kind of bumping up against the end of our time frame here.
We are. There's just one last thing I want to throw out there, because I saw a few comments on the Elementor and all that. ShareFaith, where we sit with this is we've integrated again with this tool called Elementor, and we have a team of designers that is constantly releasing new themes that are available to you, included with your membership, that you have access to. So it really is very easy to like switch a theme if you want to. I don't recommend just like willy-nilly switching themes all the time, but if you wanted to, I mean, you could do that. But really what I was going to say with that is finding a theme that fits your church. We have traditional designs. We have more contemporary designs. We have, we're like, for when the pandemic really hit last year, we created these pages available to you to make it really easy. So like we had our designers like, hey, let's create 2 pages that make it easy for like a landing page and a live stream page that kind of makes it easy for call to actions, next event, like all of this stuff. And it's, again, so easy to import these things. You literally just click import and you have your page. And this is all super easy to use. And it's probably one of my favorite things about ShareFaith is we have all these themes are constantly releasing available to you. And then take it one step further, you get access to all the sections that have been designed by professional designers who've been doing church designs for website design in forever. So I just wanted to kind of showcase that too. So it is one of the cool features that I love about ShareFaith.
Awesome. All right, well, let's transition over to some of our final slides. I think we're probably about ready to pick a winner for our Amazon gift card. We've got one of our team members working behind the scenes right now on our random selection.
They've stayed here this long, David. They've
earned it.
Listen, I feel like every one of you deserve one, but only one of you is going to get one.
Well, so we have a name. It starts with the letter A. Half of you are like, I'm out of here.
Wow, there's only one.
There's only one. So it's Angel McLaughlin. If I butchered that, I'm sorry.
Listen, I just want to point out that she laughed at my joke. We didn't pick you because you laughed, but it did give you a little extra credit. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. And a few other things as we're going to wrap up here. Let's go to the next slide, Tim. A lot of you may have come to this webinar from an ebook that we put out, which talks about just a blueprint for your back to school event. And it keys off some of the things we talked about, but it gets into some other things as well. If that is content that you're interested in, we're going to be sending that to you in a follow-up email. We'll also be including a replay of this webinar for anyone on your team that might be interested in this. Check out again the links in the webinar chat. There's a lot of great stuff. And again, take a closer look and maybe spend some time on sharefaith.church and allow yourself to kind of dream about what a back to school page might look like for you. If you have any questions about how we did something on that page, just reach out to us at support@sharefaith.com and we can get back to you with some tips and maybe some instructions on how we went about doing that. And finally, Tim, if you want to talk about the back to school sale as we close it up.
You know what? I would absolutely love to. We do have a sale going on right now. It's 20% off new yearly memberships and upgrades. So if you're sitting with the kids essentials or any of the kids plans or the media plans or whatever, and you're like, hey, this website stuff looks great. Our church has been looking to upgrade our website. Now's the best time to sign up. It really is one of the best times. Or if you're monthly media, there's a new price increase that's happening for yearly. I'm throwing it in there, baby. Let's get it in. I'm trying to save you guys money. That's happening September 1st. So if you sign up before September 1st, new yearly for media yearly, you're going to get a great deal there too. But yeah, the sale is going on. It applies to 20% off all new yearly memberships and upgrades. So definitely check that out. It's going to happen through August 31st.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not seeing any open questions at this point. I want to thank everyone for coming and just excited for all of your back to school plans. Please, if you have any, even as you look at like these pages or these thoughts, if you're kind of dreaming like, oh, we'd like to do something like this with ShareFaith and your website builder, or we were considering using the kids ministry content in this kind of way, reach out to us. We'd love to collaborate with you, give you ideas on how to get the most out of your membership. Because really we're successful when your church is successful. So helping you out is really what we're all about.
Yep. Thank you for your time, everybody. Hopefully you found this webinar a little, I would say like helpful, really. We wanted to jump in there and show the product being used, not just say, hey, look at this cool thing that it does, but actually show you how to do it. And that's what we're going to focus on in any future webinar. So if you think this was beneficial for anybody out there, share it along, get the word out. Listen, voice for radio. Wait, did I say that right? Face for radio. There it is. Face for radio, voice for print. So David's your man.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, it's been a pleasure spending some time with you all, and look forward to doing it again.